Yeah, this was kind of like the center of my youth was right here. This is what it was all about, and like the best thing about my childhood is there was like 10 of us, and there was the center of everything that we did was right here. And now we've all gone off and gone our own separate ways and doing all these different things and stuff. But I think like all of us still kind of, it's a pretty fun time, and it still remains a pretty special part in our hearts, you know what I mean? The garage gang, like, how cool is that?
You say things all the time, the words don't lie. It's just that nothing you say is true. We got enemies or friends, and your mouth bends with all the women.
Just walked over from the beach. That's the beach over there where I grew up bodyboarding, and Avalon's just down there. And this is the garage where the famous garage gang came from. We used to walk over there and have a little look. Here we used to just like leave our wetties down on the concrete there drying out. Leave them all day too, no one would steal them or anything like that. Yeah, it's changed. It was like a red brick place back then. And well, Dennis, when we first moved in here, he had both the garages. And then towards the end, they got pissed off with that, and the people would only let us be in the right one, which was which was pretty selfish of them, but understandable. It was Dean Fergus, who was like he was sponsored by Tubes at the time, and Dan Single, who was sponsored by Moray, went on to become a millionaire through a fashion brand. Then Toby, Tate, Martin, who still bodyboards, Gherkin, who still bodyboards, Nick Williamson, Adam Crowley. Who else? That was pretty much it, wasn't it? Yeah, Harbo. Well, obviously, Ian Harbison, because that's who we used to leave our stuff with.
They were sort of like guys we grew up with, and yeah, it was always just fun times, like sort of competitive. Everyone used to surf pretty well for such a small little tight-knit beach, but yeah, it was good fun growing up there.
It was around that time, I think we were all surfing and had regional titles on in Av, 93 maybe. And we sort of all kind of knew each other from the surf, and then we started hanging out from, I think that's the day we went up to the garage to leave our boards there for that day, and I think it sort of went from there maybe.
You're a bum, Gherkin. You're a bum.
Ian's dad, Dennis, he was like the music collector. He was a really unique kind of guy. Like he's a full character. And he basically was totally cool with us leaving our stuff there. He was just like, keep it clean, look after it. Here's your section, here's your board, put your boards here. When you want to surf, you want to surf.
He used to let us hang out in his garage, as long as we wanted, all the time. Night time, anything.
Walls to wall the records, books. And he used to sell us, like, he'd buy them for like 50 cents and sell them to everyone for like $1. And he was wrapped,
I don't think he even owned any food in his house. I don't think he ate food. Yeah. He used to be big on the flea markets, and he kind of, I guess he kind of showed us like soul surfing culture, like getting away and just chasing waves and like loving it for the pure reasons, because that's all he ever did. Like he was from that era of surfing when it was just basic, and all you did was ride waves, and you'd wear like shorts in winter and stuff like that, just because that's all you had. And yeah, he was such an interesting guy. He was like, up until that point, I never met anyone like that. In winter time, it used to be freezing cold. You come in from the surf, and wetties back in those days that were nowhere near as quality of these days. So we just sit there and sit in the sun, just try and warm up, and just open the doors, and we'd have like a little fire in there and everything like that, and just be like, oh, weather looks good, and we'd just stay there all day sometimes. Like on the weekends and stuff, we'd stay there all day just watching the conditions, hoping it was going to get better.
When the waves were on, it was just like a crew. It was all met up, and we all sort of seemed to go out to lay, go out Av, go wedge. If Toby was charging $2 for a lift because he was the only one that had a car licence.
A lot of the guys that were there, like Otter and Nick Williamson, there's heaps of guys that were ripping, like good bodyboarders, still good bodyboarders today. Some guys don't bodyboard anymore. Some sort of went their own way, and a lot of them were just they're the best guys out in the water at the time. They're winning a lot of contests, that sort of stuff. But there was at one stage I think it was like 15 guys.
I remember so State Boats would film us after surfing, and the whole garage game would all go back to, I don't know, it was usually Tate's house for some reason. We'd go back to Tate's house. I guess it was closest, wasn't it? The end of Central there. So we'd go back there and yeah, pretty much. And we'd watch it and eat all of his dad's food and that, and look at porn mags. Yeah, it was good childhood, and yeah, I remember like watching Stapo's footage and get so pissed off, like, Stapo, you missed that one I got. He's so pissed off, and then if someone else got a good one, you'd be like, just totally pissed off. I remember once like me and Tate had a full-on fight about it. I was so pissed off about it. Like I was so angry that he got a good one out of the lay or something like that. But it seemed to me like the guy who usually got the best ones off footage was Nick Williamson. Always seemed to get sick ones. And Dave Trevina too. I was like, oh, I hate you guys.
Yeah, we're always super competitive. Just always trying to outdo each other. Not just in bodyboarding, but heaps of everything too. And so it was kind of good. We used to push each other, and yeah, it was always fun. There's never any bad feelings about it, but it's just always good. You sort of just push each other, whether it be who did the biggest air or charge the heaviest pit or whatever like that.
Pretty hard to be competitive. He was so ahead of everyone, you know what I mean? But he had ADD. Like, it was non-stop, 100 miles an hour. And we were sort of like, we'd surf for hours and he'd go out for another 2 more hours after us, and we was like, okay, can't be bothered. So, but no, he was always like 3 or 4 times better than anyone else was around the area. So it's kind of hard to be competitive. You just went, I can't be, you can have it.
But yeah, it was good to be able to, I guess, watch you surfing on what you thought you were doing out there and watch it on the television screen. I had this weird thing, like I used to call it the claw. And it was like where I'd be like that the whole time. And it looked really kind of weird. And so I had to really concentrate. And it was through watching our surfing that Mark filmed that I could see that was a really bad thing. So I had to concentrate on those things. And remember Gherk spins? We used to write Gherkin off so hard, man. He used to do these hip spins. He should actually do a spin and be on the side of his hip on the bodyboard. And we used to ride him off so hard. But then, like, as a result, like, he fixed that, you know what I mean? And now he's like an unbelievable bodyboarder, like one of the most stylish guys you could surf with.
I vaguely remember he got sponsored by Moray, is when he won the cadets, I think, Australian title. He came back with a new hat, and we were all like, he's got a hat. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I remember getting my first box and like it was like full of clothes, wetsuits. Like I got like a long arm, short leg, a short arm, long leg, a steamer, like everything you could ever want. And I was just so wrapped. Looking back, the clothes were so horrible. I had these knitted shorts, and I wore those all year. And I was so stoked on it. Turtleneck, skivvy, white. I was so stoked on that. All the stuff I just used to wear like non-stop. Stains and everything, just wear it because I was so proud about being sponsored. Bizarre, isn't it? As much as like Avalon was like the centre point of my existence, and it was such a small little happy environment to grow up in, like I knew like I kind of needed to challenge myself a little bit more, and you know, especially with the wave riding, like I said, like the progression was to move from North Ave, and then the highlight of your career was to be able to surf LA, and you know, like I needed to kind of challenge myself in heavier waves because that's the direction bodyboarding was going. And I moved down the coast, and that was a pretty big opportunity for me to be able to push myself and my surfing. Yeah, and I remember Kelly Slater used to live back in that unit, and we used to see him like run past the little garage, and there was another guy, Anton Miller. Anton Miller was pretty competitive with Toby, and Anton, I don't know, he kind of didn't really want to hang out with us, but he left. He got some deal with someone out the back and got their toilet, and used to leave his stuff in their toilet and paid him like $10 a week or something like that.
So like the rival garage.
Yeah, but he just was by himself in the toilet. Anton Miller. We used to try and break in there, steal his stuff.